Benita, good morning.
Good morning, Blake.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. It's good to hear. Pleasure to sit down with you, and looking forward to hearing about your experience and expertise in the real estate industry here in San Antonio. So I won't drag this out too long. You ready to get going?
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to chat with you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for making the time. I certainly appreciate it. So, well, Benita, to get us started, just tell me a little bit of what sets you apart from other agents. What do you think you bring to the industry that maybe nobody else really does or doesn't do well?
I think the thing that really sets me apart from other agents is my work ethic. I just have a very unusual work ethic, and I
Mhm.
think it stems from my upbringing. I was born in Mexico, but came to the United States when I was 8 years old. And because of kind of the situation of how I came to the United States, I grew up undocumented, and I was in the United States for a very long time that way. And it really forced me to have to learn to work hard because when you're undocumented, you really can't work in the industry. You just kind of take whatever work comes along your way. So I've got this really versatile set of skills, and people laugh at me all the time because oftentimes we're doing something and I'll say like, yes, I used to work there. I used to be a waitress. I used to work at a welding shop. I sing, I play the piano. I used to give piano lessons. I taught English. I taught citizenship classes. Oh, I'm a licensed reverend. Also, did you need somebody to marry you? Because I got you. I used to do catering, like literally so many different jobs. But what that has done for me is it's really taught me to value and appreciate work,
Mhm.
and to work very hard. And I'm really, really appreciative of that, and that my parents have instilled that in me. They also are incredibly hard workers, both of my parents, and sacrifice so much to be able to give me and my brothers the opportunity to live in the United States, grow up in the United States, get our college degrees. Um, and because of that, I've just been able to develop that really hard work ethic, which in real estate, you really have to have, because real estate is about going after opportunities and chasing down, properties or whatever opportunity it is that comes your way. It's not the kind of job that is just going to kind of land on you and you're going to
Mhm.
one day log into Facebook and have all these people that want houses, or
Uh-huh. Yeah,
once
if
you already
only.
exactly, exactly, exactly. Or once you already have a client, it's not gonna magically appear this beautiful house for them. You have to really work hard to go out there and find, and especially in the market that we're in right now,
Mhm.
you have to work really hard for buyers and for sellers too, to mitigate the transaction and make sure that they're getting the best deal out of whatever offers that they're getting. And that's something that I really pride myself in bringing to the table is my work ethic, and just how hard I work for my clients.
Yes, ma'am. Certain. Well, I'm certain they appreciate it, and I'm a I'm a firm believer that a healthy amount of adversity in life definitely makes us a lot stronger and a lot more competitive when we're in industries like the one you're in. So I can certainly empathize with what you bring to the table. So wonderful. Well, Benita, tell me a little bit about a time that maybe you had a challenging transaction or something happened that made something much more difficult than it needed to be, and just tell me what you did to overcome that challenge, please.
Yeah. So I recently sold a flip where one of the framing inspections was missed. So the way that flips work is you've got to have different inspections that happen along the way to make sure that everything was done correctly.
Mhm.
And for this particular flip, it was just missed by the contractor who was working on it. So when it came time to sell it, um, the entire project was done, but the inspection that had to be done hadn't been done. And for that particular inspection, you're not supposed to have like the sheetrock up yet because you're
Mhm.
supposed to be able to see the framing. So in that particular case, it was just a few days before closing when this was discovered, because we were pending the final inspection and we thought, okay, this person's going to come sign off on it. No problem. Everything was done right. Everything is good to go. And that's when in the paperwork that came up. So literally with days before closing, I had to troubleshoot with the different people involved in the project, the general contractors, the different inspectors, the city, just in structural engineering. I mean, we had to kind of bring all the team together and say, hey, what do we have to do to make sure that this home is really good and quality and ready to go for the people who are going to buy it, right? And to make things more challenging, this happened the 1 week in San Antonio when it was really, really cold. And it was like everything was shutting down. My kids were not in school that day. So we were like, trying to figure out how to get all of this done, get those people out to that house to make sure that it was evaluated properly and scheduled, and getting the engineer's letter, making sure everything was just done right. And it was just incredibly challenging. But here's where really, like I was talking about my work ethic, I think that's what really sets me apart, because maybe 90% of the population would probably just say, I'm just going to extend the deadline and we're just going to tell the buyers, well, ni modo, you can't get your house when you wanted it. Ni modo, seller, you're going to have to just, wait. And I knew my sellers didn't want that. I knew my buyers didn't want that. I didn't want to disappoint them. And at the same time, I had to do it in the correct way, making sure that everything was structurally sound for them. And so again, making those, I remember at that time I called probably 20 engineers until we could find one that was
Wow.
available on
Yeah.
24-hour notice and that could go out and do it and was licensed and certified and did that type of inspection. But again, it goes back to being able to work that hard, because honestly, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to be hired to do a work. And so when you do have that opportunity to do that, you've got to really go above and beyond for your clients to make sure that they are getting all of their needs met.
Yes, ma'am. Wonderful. And I'm sure your clients certainly appreciated that effort. So that's the kind of stuff that really helps you get a referral business and stand out amongst your peers. We were talking a little bit about that earlier yeah, no, that's awesome. Great effort. And I think we all cringe a little bit at that cold snap we had a year or so ago. So good on you for making that happen. Well, Benita, you touched on a little bit there, but maybe tell me a little more, or tell me a slightly different time when you just really went above and beyond to take care of your clients, please.
Yeah, another transaction that I did last year actually was selling this little lot on the south side of San Antonio.
Mhm.
And I still laugh about it because when I got it, I thought, oh, it's this tiny little lot. Like, how
Mhm.
hard can it's not even a house, right? Like, how much work can this be? There's no house, it's just a little lot. And it's going to be such an easy transaction. And it's just going to be smooth sailing. Well, what I didn't know at the time when I took on the listing, which I've since learned, but
Mhm.
the seller, when he bought that lot, that property, he hadn't um, gone to title and gotten title commitment and gotten title insurance. He just kind of bought it owner to owner. And because he did that, he was unfortunately unaware that the lot actually had several liens on it. Some were from the city because it hadn't been upkept. And so when you don't upkeep a property, the city takes it upon themselves to upkeep it so that it can be nice and presentable for the
Mhm.
community. And of course, they do charge a fee for that. And of course, if you don't pay it, it's gonna get interest tacked onto it, and that's what had happened in this case. And then additionally, it had been used by people in the past to as like a collateral
Mhm.
for loans and other different things. And so because that happened, it also had liens in that way. So the way to clear those liens was to actually find the people who put those liens on there in the first place, which let me tell you was a journey because it had been such a long time that they put these liens on there. And so I found out who the people were
Mhm.
and I tried to track them down. Of course, no one was answering their phone because who is this random person
Yeah,
calling
yeah.
me? And so I actually do go to their homes, find out where they live and pray and hope that they wouldn't think that it was something weird or a scam and so I showed up at their house and like, please, I'm legit, like, here is my, documentation from the lawyer's office stating, do you remember this,
Mhm.
random lot? And so they were like, yeah, I think I remember that. Nothing's owed on us. Or
Mhm.
nothing's owed on that lot for us. And so um, then we had to get a mobile notary to go out there and make sure everything was done correctly, all the liens were
Mhm.
clear, record reported them back at the lawyer's office and took them to title. And so there was just several steps that had to happen.
Mhm.
Um, and looking back at it, I'm so grateful that I got to learn so much in that transaction. But when I tell other agents that, they often laugh and say, "Hey, you did that? You did
Yeah.
that for that $28,000 lot?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, yes, I committed to sell it, and it doesn't
Mhm.
matter to me that it was you know, a small transaction or a large transaction. To me,
Mm.
I think every client deserves 110% of my work. And so, whether it was going to be a very small sale or $1 million sale, I had to get it done. And so I'm really glad that I was able to help that client and we were able to get it sold. It
Mhm.
was very hard.
Yeah, well, sounds like you certainly got your money's worth in experience with that one.
Mhm,
So,
absolutely.
there's some stuff they just can't put in a book, right? So,
Absolutely. And they don't teach you that in real estate
yeah,
school.
there you go.
Oftentimes
There you
people will
go.
say
Well,
that, but it's true. They don't teach you how to do those things.
yes, ma'am. Well, that's a great story, and a great experience. I appreciate you sharing that one with me. Actually, that's really funny. So, well, Benita, I'm gonna wrap us up real quick. I certainly appreciate you taking the time out this morning, and it was lovely chatting with you. I really enjoy hearing your stories and learning about your experience and expertise.
Thank
So,
you so much. Thank you for taking the time to hear me out.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.